Welcome back. So we're excited about this. Fox 8 and Kaulig Giving would like to salute Mike Crummins as one of Cleveland's own. So Mike recently hosted a jack-o'-lantern jog at the Akron FOP Lodge. So with all the proceeds that he raised, organizers were able to buy 3 tactical K9 vests, 2 for the Akron Police Department and 1 for the Summit County Sheriff's Office. Mike Crummins, so thoughtful for your great efforts. We're honoring you today as one of Cleveland's own. Remember, to nominate someone doing something great, please do so by going to fox8.com. Be sure you click Seen on TV. And speaking of Kaulig Giving, our friend Matt Kaulig is back with us today. How are you, Matt?
Great, how are you?
Good to see you.
Happy
You're like
Wednesday.
So excited about this.
I'm super excited always to be here.
Okay, so wait, Monday, in almost all of our newscasts, Jessica Dill caught up with you and your family over the weekend and did a great story, something that we've talked about together on the air a lot. But tell everyone about Samantha's Gift of Hope.
So Jessica did a great job. And
she did.
Samantha's Gift of Hope is our, I don't want to call it a foundation, but an organization that we founded maybe 3 or 4 years ago to help with infertility. So to help do in vitro fertilization. So my wife and I, Lisa, we had trouble conceiving Samantha and having kids. So tried for years. It
took a couple years.
It took a few years.
And that's such an emotional burden, especially on a new couple. You're trying to, you just think you get married, then you just have a baby, and that doesn't always happen.
It doesn't always happen. So, so we were fortunate enough to even have the resources, even with my business and everything else, to have the money to be able to go down the road of doing in vitro. We did a few rounds. Finally had Samantha, so she's an awesome 14-year-old, 8th grader now, just an awesome kid. So we wanted to be able to give back to other couples. So we started 4 times a year giving a grant, a $25,000 grant to couples that are going through the same kind of process. And so now, several years later, we have 8 babies.
Amazing.
And we have 3 couples that are pregnant right now, and then 2 that are going through the in vitro process.
The baby that we saw in the story that Jessica did was so cute, and how she waved for the first time to you guys. Like, how cool was that?
Well, it was cool meeting them. You know, so that'll, we'll have to figure out what that means, like even down the road. Like, but to actually have live babies that we've helped, to give. Is really special.
Well, the journey of IVF is so expensive for families. Not only is it emotionally draining, but financially draining also.
So that's what we hate, that couples can't have kids just because of the financial burden, that it causes. So, so super happy. That's one of the
8
awesome
babies
things.
so far. That's awesome.
But that's what we do in philanthropy too. We talk about, I've been on this show, with Kaulig Giving for years. And it's important that the more money you have, the more money that we make, the more that we give back. So,
well, speaking of, that's why you're back here too. So you picked another wonderful charity again. And this one is something we kind of don't think about much, but it has such a huge impact on our lives and our environment with the Western Reserve Land Conservancy. Talk about that.
So they're doing some great things in Cleveland. So again, it's, most of our things are giving kids and things, but this is something that really helps everything. Helps the environment. It's planting trees. I mean, they have a initiative now that they're reforesting our city. So they're reforesting Cleveland. And by reforesting, it's like literally planting trees. We've lost, they call it like a tree canopy. All right. So if you're looking at like Google Maps and you see how much tree coverage there is like in the city, it's down to like 17%. You want to be at like 30%. So we have lost over, let's say, the last 70 years. Like 70 years ago, like in 1950, it was about 50% covered, like in Cleveland. And now it's 17%. I mean, we keep losing trees and they're dying and they cut down. So it's really important to give back and to plant trees.
Well, and so it seems like something so simple, but this is actually something that all of the sports organizations are getting involved with. So recently you just spoke on with a panel, I understand, with Dee Haslam from the Browns, and there were folks from all of Paul Dolan from the Indians, Len Komorowski from the Cavs. So you were up there too.
No, we were in a panel. So we had a breakfast last Thursday at Public Square, and it was super awesome. And we got to talk about, it's like the who's who of business people that were at this breakfast, and just talking about the importance of planting trees and getting back to, like they call it reforesting,
Yeah.
our city. So this organization has planted 14,000 trees in our area since 2014. So,
And there's much more work to be done, and that's why you're helping them, giving them money to support their
That's right.
initiative and what they're doing.
yeah. And so they're buying up lots. So we were able to actually be part of like a tree planting. And it's actually a spiritual or like
Really?
amazing, it actually is.
I love it.
So we go to Mount Pleasant, this neighborhood here in Cleveland, and there are literally no trees. I mean, not a tree. If you can even imagine, walking down the sidewalk, you're a kid, there's not a tree in anybody's yard, and on the sidewalks, there's no parks. So we were able to go plant about 30 trees. And there's a lot to planting trees.
That's
it's not
awesome.
just, throwing a seed in the ground and the thing grows. So planting stakes and, little cages around the trees to protect them from the deer and like damage.
Landscapers, right?
Yeah, so,
People mowing the grass.
But it was a really cool experience. And again, it's the initiative to really, do you know Cleveland is called the Forest City? Did you know that?
Well, yeah, there's Forest City Enterprises and a lot of businesses on that. So,
Right.
but now they've been taken away.
That's right. So that's what this organization is doing.
Yeah.
And so everybody should watch. What is it on? New Day?
New Day
Take
Cleveland tomorrow. So the full story. And it's
Yeah.
one of those things like Celebrate Earth Day. Remember when we were young, we'd get a tree at school, a little
That's
seedling,
right.
and we'd go home and plant it, but you don't hear about that now.
You don't. So this is such a great organization. You guys should watch it tomorrow. It is an amazing story. And I was enlightened. When you start talking about planting trees and that's your organization, I was like, what's the importance of it? But there are so many economic, mental,
Benefits,
for kids.
I mean,
Benefits,
really,
yeah.
like you mentioned, some of these kids never see that kind of stuff.
Yeah. So
if
it's
they're
cool.
not-
Everybody should get involved. So it's Western Reserve Land Conservancy. I think it's wrlandconservancy.org is their website. And they're looking for volunteers. They can help plant trees, give money. It's a really great organization. Everybody should check
Well,
it
the
out.
ripple effect of that, and then the pollinators and all of that, is just helps our environment, helps sustain our food, everything else.
Yeah.
As
So
you
it's great.
mentioned too, the mental benefits. You can lay under a tree and dream of what you want to be one day, right?
Imagine this. So I live in Hudson, okay? So you can't walk down a sidewalk or without trees. I mean, there's trees everywhere. And imagine being a kid walking to school in Cleveland, and there are literally no trees. It's just concrete and just houses, and it's just...
Bringing it back. It's wonderful.
And so we're trying to bring it back, and we're trying to help, and
I love it.
everybody should.
Sounds great. All right, we'll get a swing and swing on that tree one day. All right, listen, we're going to have that full story for you tomorrow on New Day Cleveland. Right now, we're going to take a short commercial break. Weather's coming up next. Stay close.